Have you ever noticed that some people don't seem to fight with money the way everyone else does? They're not always richer than everyone around them. They're not always more talented. They're not even always harder working. And yet somehow, month after month, year after year, they seem stable. They don't panic when bills come in. They don't spiral when the market dips. They don't turn payday into a rescue mission. And they don't treat money like an enemy they have to wrestle into submission. So what's their secret? Most people think the answer is income. Make more money, solve the problem. And yes, income matters, a lot. But if income alone solved money stress, then high earners would never be broke, never be anxious, never live paycheck to paycheck. But we know that's not true. There are people making modest incomes who feel deeply in control. And there are people making six figures who are quietly drowning. Which means the real difference often isn't just math, it's psychology. The people who rarely struggle with money tend to see money differently at the identity level. They operate from a set of invisible beliefs and emotional habits that shape every financial decision they make. And the crazy part is, most of these habits don't look dramatic from the outside. They look boring. They look ordinary. They almost look too simple to matter. But over time, they change everything. The first hidden trait is this: they do not use money to repair their emotions. This is bigger than it sounds. A lot of financial struggle is not really about numbers, it's about emotional regulation. People spend when they feel behind. They spend when they feel ignored. They spend when they feel exhausted. They spend when they want relief, stimulation, status, comfort, or control. In that moment, the purchase is not a financial decision, it's emotional self-medication. And that's why so many people say, I know what I'm supposed to do with money, I just don't do it. Because knowledge is not the main problem, emotion is. People who rarely struggle with money still enjoy life. They still buy nice things. They still spend. But they are less likely to use spending as a substitute for self-worth, relief, or identity repair. They don't need every purchase to prove they're doing okay. That one shift alone changes everything, because when you stop using money to soothe yourself, money stops disappearing in ways you can't explain. The second hidden trait is that they value calm more than appearance. This one is subtle, because modern culture rewards the opposite. We are constantly pushed to look successful before we become secure. Drive the car first, wear the watch first, upgrade the apartment first, signal the lifestyle first, and then maybe, later, build the foundation. But the people who never seem to struggle with money often reverse that sequence. They would rather be privately secure than publicly impressive. They care more about how their bank account feels than how their life looks from across the room. That means they don't automatically upgrade every time their income rises. They don't build their life around keeping up. They don't confuse visibility with wealth. And most importantly, they understand something many people never fully accept. Every visible luxury creates an invisible obligation. The nicer car means a payment. The bigger house means maintenance. The expensive lifestyle means pressure. And pressure can turn a good income into a fragile life. People who are good with money are often not addicted to the image of wealth. They're addicted to the feeling of freedom. That's a completely different psychology. The third trait is that they think in decades, not dopamine. Most bad money decisions make perfect sense if you only think in the next 10 minutes. Ordering the thing now feels better than waiting. Financing the lifestyle now feels better than building slowly. Taking the shortcut feels better than tolerating the gap. The problem is, short-term emotions are loud, and long-term consequences are quiet. People who rarely struggle with money are unusually good at hearing quiet things. They can feel the future. Not literally, of course, but psychologically, they have a stronger relationship with delayed outcomes. They're able to ask questions most people ignore. How will this choice feel in a year? Will this expense still matter next month? Am I buying a moment or building a life? Does this decision reduce future stress or increase it? And that's what financial maturity really is. It's not perfection, it's not deprivation, it's not becoming obsessed with spreadsheets and never enjoying your money. It's simply developing enough distance from the present moment that you stop sacrificing your future self to comfort your current self. That is a rare skill, and it's far more psychological than mathematical. The fourth trait is that they don't worship income, they respect margin. A lot of people believe that the goal is to make as much money as possible. And sure, more income helps. But people who stay financially stable understand that what protects you is not just how much comes in, it's how much space exists between what comes in and what goes out. That space is margin. Margin is what lets you breathe. It's what lets you handle surprises. It's what lets you make decisions from clarity instead of fear. Without margin, even a high income can feel claustrophobic. With margin, even an ordinary income can feel steady. This is why some people constantly need the next raise, the next deal, the next breakthrough, not because they are greedy, but because their lifestyle has already consumed every dollar they make. They are running fast just to remain in place. People who rarely struggle with money protect margin almost like oxygen. They know a life that looks slightly smaller but feels lighter is often a better life than one that looks impressive but demands constant financial acrobatics to maintain. The fifth hidden trait is that they don't make money personal. This might be one of the most underrated traits of all. For many people, money is tangled up in shame. If they save, they feel restricted. If they spend, they feel guilty. If they earn less than someone else, they feel inferior. If they make a mistake, they feel like a failure. So every money decision becomes emotionally loaded. But people who handle money well tend to depersonalize it. They see money as information, a result, a tool, a system, not a verdict on who they are. That means if they overspend, they adjust. If they fall behind, they make a plan. If they realize something isn't working, they change it without turning it into a morality play. There's less drama, less ego, less self-punishment. And because there's less emotional chaos, there's more room for honest correction. That's powerful. Because shame usually makes people avoid their finances. Clarity makes them face them. The sixth trait is that they trust consistency more than intensity. Most people approach money the same way they approach diets, workouts, or productivity. They swing between extremes. For 2 weeks, they're disciplined, no spending, full control, everything tracked. Then life happens, emotions happen, exhaustion happens, and the whole system collapses. People who rarely struggle with money usually don't rely on heroic discipline. They build repeatable behavior, automatic transfers, simple spending rules, accounts with clear jobs, modest routines they can follow even when tired, distracted, or stressed. They understand that the best financial system is not the most impressive one. It's the one you can still follow on an ordinary Tuesday when life is messy. And that's an important distinction. Because sustainable money habits are rarely built in moments of motivation. They are built in moments of realism. The seventh hidden trait is that they define enough. This is the one almost nobody talks about. If you never define enough, then money will always feel scarce, even when there's plenty of it. Because when more becomes the goalpost keeps moving. More income, more upgrades, more proof, more comfort, more options, more status. And soon, money stops being a resource and becomes an emotional scoreboard you can never actually win. But people who are healthy with money usually make a quiet decision at some point. What kind of life am I actually trying to fund? Not the fantasy, not the performance, not the life that gets applause. My life. Once that becomes clear, money gets simpler. You spend more intentionally, you compare less, you stop chasing upgrades you don't even deeply want, and you begin using money to support your values instead of your insecurity. That is when money starts to feel less like pressure and more like alignment. So if we zoom out, what's the hidden psychology of people who never seem to struggle with money? It's not that they know some secret formula. It's not that they've mastered every investment strategy.
It's not that they never make mistakes. It's that they've built an internal relationship with money that is calmer, less reactive, and less ego-driven. They don't spend to feel okay. They don't perform wealth for strangers. They think beyond the present moment. They protect margin. They separate money from shame. They trust consistency, and they know what enough looks like. That's the real shift. Because financial peace is rarely created by one giant move. It's usually created by a new identity. An identity that says, I don't need money to prove my worth. I don't need chaos to feel alive. I don't need appearances to feel successful. I don't need to win every moment. I just need to build a life that is stable, intentional, and free. And maybe that's the deepest truth here. The people who never seem to struggle with money are not always the people who obsess over money the most. They're often
The people who have learned to need it emotionally the least. And that distance, that calm, grounded, unshaken relationship with money is exactly what allows them to keep more of it, grow more of it, and suffer less because of it. If you want to change your finances, you may need better tactics, but before tactics, you may need a different psychology. Because once your mind stops treating money like status, relief, identity, and survival all at once, you finally give it permission to become what it was supposed to be all along, a tool. And tools work best when your emotions are not holding the handle.